What up, what up, what up? This is your boy C Dot to the B Dot coming at y'all once again with another Missing the 90s review. So, a few videos ago, we talked about the Sony PlayStation versus the Nintendo 64. And somewhere in that video, I mentioned the Sega Saturn, but I did not give it its flowers. And so today, I want to dedicate this entire video to just that one console. Now, my knowledge on the Saturn is really limited due to the fact that I never had one growing up. I never even knew anybody who had one. But remember when Blockbuster used to have the displays, like they had the Genesis, they had the Super Nintendo, they had the Virtual Boy, all those little like setup game displays. At one point, they had the display for the Sega Saturn, and the only game back then that I ever played for that console was Panzer Dragoon, which was a great title, by the way. But unfortunately, like I said, I never owned one growing up. But nowadays, I'm happy to tell y'all that I do have one, and I managed to snag it for about 150, which to me isn't a bad price. I got three games for it: Virtual Fighter 2, Daytona USA, and Die Hard Trilogy. So really, my knowledge on the Saturn, like I said before, is really limited because I really didn't, do my research on that particular console like that. Although I know it sold about 9 million units, it came in third place behind the PlayStation, which sold over 100 million units, and the Nintendo 64, which sold over 32 million, I believe. I had to go back and look at those numbers too. But yeah, I felt like two things kind of killed the Saturn when it first came out. One, which was the price. It came out at $399 versus PlayStation's $299, and even worse, the Nintendo 64 that next year's $199. So the second thing was it was supposed to come out near the launch of the PlayStation, near the last part of the year. But Sega kind of messed up when this was on Sega Japan, but they messed up when they released it 4 or 5 months ahead of time. So the console really didn't get any shine like that because certain retailers refused to carry it, and a lot of developers that were developing games for it were not able to release their games in time because of that whole situation. So I feel like that's the reason why it came in third place. Otherwise, I believe if it came out right around the time PlayStation did, and it came out $100 cheaper, $299 with the PlayStation, I think it would have stood a solid chance. Because I'm gonna say this right now, a lot of people bomb on the Saturn, and I did too at one point because I was on the bandwagon. I'll be honest with y'all, but I did give the console a chance. That's why I picked it up, and it's not a bad console. The console has pretty decent games for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving the Saturn its flowers. Now, the only thing about this system that I don't like right now is trying to collect for it because a lot of the games on this particular console are expensive as hell right now. It'll knock your wallets into oblivion. It's crazy, but they do have cheap games on the Saturn, like Virtual Cop, for an example. That doesn't go for too much. But yeah, man. Overall, the Saturn is one of those consoles where also they try to, become arcade accurate with certain games, and it did that pretty well. Just like when the Genesis dropped back in 1989 here in America, the games were solid. It was superior to the NES, but again, if you never played a Saturn, and if you know somebody who has one or can find one out in the wild, you know what I'm saying, for a decent price, yo, just pick it up. Give it a chance. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? Because I was an idiot back then. So, you know, my thing is now I would not knock anything until I give it a chance. And this is proof of that right here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on the Saturn. Um, I'm definitely going to try my best to start collecting for it even more because right now that's the console with the least amount of games I have. So definitely gonna jump on that. But I will talk to you guys later. And make sure tonight we have our very first episode of Run That Back. We jumping on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure y'all drop in for that, and I will see y'all then. All right, peace.